Man, it feels good to be back. What's up, guys? Welcome to the new TWE studio. So, it's been about a month since I've been able to make content because of the move and some complications with the new house and everything. And ultimately, I wanted to make a whole series on just setting up this race room. But then I ended up changing some things and it wasn't going to be that drastic. So today I thought I would show you guys around, give you guys a little bit of a preview of, what it looked like before and after because I did film just a tiny bit of content on that. It's really, really short clips, but you guys will be able to see kind of the transformation that's gone on. And then on top of that, I have some Cup Car 2.0 updates. And over the last month, you guys have had a lot of questions that I feel like I need to catch up on. So I thought I would do a little Q&A session on this video and answer some of the questions you guys have had. And then I have one little surprise at the end of the video that I'm going to share with you guys. The sim rig's getting an upgrade that a lot of you have been almost demanding, so I think you guys will be excited about that. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so comparing the old race room to the new race room, you're not going to notice a lot of differences in hardware, so there's not too much to cover. Probably the biggest difference is having black walls, and ultimately that was just my way of being able to control the lighting better. Also, it just left me not needing as much stuff on the walls, and I felt like I could streamline things. So you guys can see over here in the streaming setup, I kept the 3 pictures above the desk, threw the light bar in, and got rid of all the other noise that was going on over here. I just think it looks a lot more streamlined, a bit cleaner. I just like how it came out. I think it's working really well there. Over here in the corner, I really got to thinking about, like, sometimes I just want to chat and sit on the camera and do a few things and, maybe have my drink nearby and stuff. That's kind of what this corner's for. Also, if I were to collaborate with anybody and have somebody here in the studio, I just wanted to have a nice spot to sit and chat. I do want to get a little something on the wall here. I haven't decided what. I'm trying not to overdo anything, so taking a minute on that. Same with this wall. I'm gonna put the TV on it, but it's just not something, like, I haven't decided how yet to keep it clean because I'm not gonna have the crazy entertainment center down below that I did before. As far as the sim rig, I think this is probably one of the coolest changes. You guys can see these wood slot panels right here. I 3D printed some mounts to get them up against the wall, ran LED strips into them. I think ultimately I need to do like a cob strip or something that's gonna have less hot spots, but for right now, I still think it looks pretty good. I think it's clean. And then of course the rig down below. You guys are probably gonna notice that I haven't enclosed the rig, so let's talk about that for a minute. So obviously I'm super passionate about finishing the Cup Car 2.0 rig. I've been dying to get the enclosure back on it, but I've got an opportunity to test some new sim racing gear and just kind of experiment and experience some different things. So I want to keep the rig open for right now, just to make it easy to swap parts in and out of. I think I can probably get this done in the next couple weeks, get back on track with the build, and continue building the ultimate visually immersive sim rig. But for the time being, we're going to leave it a little bit bare just to have the opportunity to experience some new things, be able to review from different angles, and kind of just enjoy the sim rig for what it is. And this is something I talked about early on in the build series, just having that ability to remove everything from it and have it be a good standalone flagship rig. So we're going to experience that for just a few weeks while I get through some of these reviews. And then we'll get back to work. All right, guys, so let's get into some of the questions you guys have had about the rig throughout the build process and more so over the last month. But before I get into any of those, I want to address one that comes up more common than anything, and that's what monitors I'm using on the rig. I've explained this before, but I'll go through it again just to have this video as a reference. I use 332-inch 1500R AOC monitors. They're 1080p, so they're relatively low resolution. And I think a lot of people think that the monitors are bigger than they are just because of how I set up the FOV. And really, a lot of the questions I get asked are around what angles I have the monitors. I don't really know. If you guys want to go watch my videos on how I set up FOV, I've probably got about 3 different ones on here. And it's basically the same process, but ultimately I do eyeball the angles and then fine tune the settings in whatever game I'm racing in. And I've just found that I can get a more realistic field of view that works for me and works for the camera when I do it this way. So if you guys have been wondering about that, definitely go check out the videos. And for those who always ask, how big the wingspan is from one monitor all the way on the far right to the left. It's about 56 inches. If you round it up to 60, call it 5 feet. So if you're looking to build a triple screen sim rig, I would say you probably need about 5 feet of space wide and 4 to 5 feet deep. So that's, a 5x5 is relatively what you need for a triple screen sim rig. If you're going VR, obviously you can run with a single monitor, narrows it down to, a couple feet really. It's a lot smaller. So just some things to think about. I know this is kind of why everybody always asks and everybody's trying to decide if they can fit a triple screen rig in their home. And that's the specs that I have on my rig. Some people run smaller monitors. There's a lot of different things you could do, but ultimately I recommend 32 inch. I think it just looks more realistic. The next question I think I've seen a lot of lately is how I built my roof, which if you guys are following this channel, you've probably already seen the video. But then I get asked, using foam insulation, how sturdy is the roof? And ultimately that roof is extremely sturdy because it's got a full PVC frame underneath it. So it holds up really well on the rig. As far as, I think I saw a comment this morning even about whether I was concerned about a fire or anything using that. And realistically, for the insulation foam, there's not a whole lot of opportunity for it to get that hot to where I think it would be a fire issue. That being said, when the roof is on, the fire extinguisher's there. I kind of have a safety protocol for it. I usually have a fire extinguisher in the room with me, hoping never to use it because obviously that would cause some real damage to some of the equipment in here. But in the event that there were something like that, and nothing is ever powered if I'm not in this room. I run way too many electrical cords and things like that to be able to just leave everything on all the time. I just don't trust it, and I try to be really careful to turn every single thing off when I leave the room, cut the power to some of the more high voltage stuff. And that's just like a safety precaution that I feel like I need to continue to take. Now, onto all the 3D printed parts. This is another question that most of you guys are going to be familiar with if you've been following the YouTube channel, but if you follow me in other spaces, this is kind of an update for you as well. I designed a good majority of the parts that go onto my rig and I print them myself. A lot of people ask me if I'll print and sell the parts, and the thing is, I only have one printer, I'm only one person, and I am pretty busy. Unfortunately, I'm just not in a position to print and sell parts right now. I'm hoping at some point to be able to expand on that and have a little bit more time and ability to do that. Right now, I do offer the STL files for the prints if you go buy a printer so that you can get access to them via my membership on this YouTube channel. Basically, anything I've designed over the course of the last 2 builds, you'll have access to. But as far as being able to print and sell them, it's just not something that I can do at this time. So the last question I get asked a lot is about different hardware on the sim rig, things like the wheelbase, pedals, stuff like that. So for a wheelbase right now, I'm running the Fanatec Club Sport DD Plus. I really like the full force effect, especially combined with the Butt Kicker Gamer Pro. I think the two together just add a different level of immersion. For the racing wheel, I use a Simline GT3R racing wheel. I think it just looks really authentic. It looks like the previous model endurance wheel, uses real carbon fiber. As far as I know, uses a real Porsche rim as well. And then for the sim rig itself, I have the Sawbelt S99 Cockpit, Sawbelt GT pad seat, and then the monitor mount and all the other bells and whistles from Sawbelt. And then the pedals, which is something I get a lot of comments on because I'm still running Fanatec V3 inverted pedals, which are pretty outdated. They're from 2017. The load cell technology isn't necessarily as good. The overall pedal probably isn't that great, but I really like the layout of the pedals, so I've been running with them for a while. But I finally decided to reach out to Asetek and maybe give something else a try. So in one of the upcoming videos, I'll be checking out a new pedal set. You guys will have to wait to find out which one. So if you guys want to help show some love for the Cup Car 2.0 build or third wheel exclusive, make sure you check out the affiliate link in the description. If you're not already following the build, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you guys out on the track.